have several really random garden projects that I'm working on today, but I figured I would take y'all along with me. So the first thing that I'm going to do is finish the weed eating that I started yesterday and got halfway done before my battery died. So let's weed eat, and then I will take y'all on with me to the next project. Next project that I'm going to work on is cutting off any of these sunflowers that have dried up petals. Most of them have already formed all of their seeds. If you just take your hand and run it across the flower, you'll remove the center part of the flower and you'll expose all of the black seeds. So I'm just going to harvest these, and then since I will be gone probably when they are nice and dried out, I will hang these upside down on my back porch and let them finish drying out the rest of the way. I do not know where my shears are, so hopefully these scissors are enough. So you can absolutely leave these sunflowers out in the field or out in your garden until they are nice and dry. However, I noticed that my chickens, because they start to droop down and fall, my chickens will get to them and eat a majority of the seeds off. And I am seed saving so that next year I can plant my sunflowers from the sunflowers that I grew this year. I think this is what they would eventually look like if you left them out just this size ground. I think this is my third year growing sunflowers with these seeds. So these are like on their third or fourth year. I don't mind if they cross-pollinate. That's not a huge deal to me. And I'm not particular about the sunflowers that I'm growing each year. I mainly do it to attract the pollinators. So it doesn't matter to me what they look like the next year. I do grow, I only grow stalk type sunflowers out in the garden. I do grow Mexican sunflowers up here in the raised garden beds, and I will save those separately because I like to keep the Mexican sunflowers and the regular sunflowers separate just because they grow so different. I'm just taking the leaves off so that when I hang them, it's less bulky hanging on my back porch. You don't really have to do this either. I have 2 more beds of sunflowers that are around my house, so I'll collect their seeds. Probably not today because I have a couple other projects that I want to work on out here, but in the next few days I'll collect the ones around the house the same way as well. They actually propagated from bird seed under my bird feeders, and I left them and they were really pretty all year. The leaf-footed bugs have really invaded my sunflowers though. It's pretty crazy. So if you plant a crop that you don't want leaf-footed bugs on, like tomatoes, you probably want to plant your sunflowers separate. So now that I have all of the leaves tore off, I'm just going to cut me a piece of string to tie all of these together. I might do like 2 or 3 bunches just so it's easier to hang them. I am done with all of my other garden chores. I will take these and I will hang them from a hook on my back porch. So the next project that I'm going to work on is the dragon fruit project that we started yesterday. I was gonna go get horse compost, but then I looked over and I saw that I had these buckets still full of compost from when I did the potatoes in the, they're not grow bags, in the laundry hampers. So I'm just gonna use that to kind of fill it up. Everyone meet my 5-year-old dragon fruit. I know that there's some varieties where you need 2 to cross-pollinate. This isn't one of them. You only have to have one variety for this one. I don't know what variety it is. No clue. Like I said, I got it out of the clearance plant section and I bought 2 of them. One keeps producing babies, which I'll show you how to cut off and root. And then this big one just keeps getting bigger and bigger. So I'm going to go ahead. I do not promise there will not be cussing. We got a variety with thorns. Terrible idea. So, let me see if I can get this thing into its new home. I'm not really sure how to tackle this. Oh, spider. Thanks. Wonderful. I'm afraid I'm going to break it. This is one of the ones that we've already propagated off of it, so you'll notice that it is a lot smaller. And then this is the one that I've got to cut up. So let me go get the Velcro. this is the garlic that I harvested from my garden. I know a lot of people braid it and hang it up, but I really don't have anywhere to do that. So I just let mine dry out flat, and now I'm gonna go through and cut the tops off and put them in this basket, and I'll just store this entire basket in the bottom of my pantry like I do my potatoes or anything like that. You'll also want to cut off the roots. This was my second year trying to grow garlic. My first year I was wildly unsuccessful, which actually came from me planting it at the wrong time, not necessarily that I wasn't successful, but I just tried to do it at the wrong time, so all I got was nice green tops. I planted, I think it was 4 whole pieces of garlic that came in the King garlic bundle that I ordered. So I definitely got back what I planted. But next year I plan to probably do twice this much, and I might actually replant some of these cloves as well. This entire piece of property was a jungle and wooded. It's actually where my husband's, and it went all the way back there. She had a nursery business and she grew palm trees. So that was all palm trees. Her trailer sat right here, and the rest she had landscaped in tropical plants. And we had it cleared when we inherited it because it had just grown into a giant mess while it was in the estate. And so when we inherited it, we cleared all the property. Well, every now and then, some of her tropical plants will pop up. And I have a bunch of shrimp plants around those 2 trees. And today I noticed that there were some pretty neat things popped up. We've been getting rain every day, probably for the last 5 days. We went like with no rain, and now we're getting rain every day. But now that it has rained, these are popping up. And I thought they're pretty neat because they pop up after a lot of rain, and they're called rain lilies. And they're in the amaryllis family. And so these have been popping up. So she obviously had a flower bed right in here somewhere. And now anytime it rains heavily, these pop up. So I just thought that was pretty neat, and that y'all might like to see a different type of flower that we have around here. And then, like I said, we have shrimp plants all around that, and some of her other plants as well. And the sunflowers are all hung. This is where they will stay to dry out until I am ready to harvest their seeds. Since I'm done recording today, y'all, the new microphone comes in.